The best fight I think I've ever called. And I'll tell you what, RWS super fights, I've called some really good ones. Daniel Rodriguez versus Lit Tewada, that was a phenomenal fight that I called as well. Pet Moricott, Joe Ryan was another really good one that I've called.
Deep Talk, der erste deutschsprachige Muay Thai Podcast.
Subscribe for more content.
Needs a Hail Mary out of the bag here to turn things around because, as I said, he spent more time on the canvas than actually throwing shots at Zigzag. Ring, the referee peels them apart. You can see Nidicorn trying to deliver the punishment and delivers it with a flying knee on the inside of the clinch.
Everybody, welcome to Deep Talk, and today in this episode we have somebody in here you might see on Saturdays on, for example, in Germany on DAZN, Joseph Comerford. Before I start, Joseph, please introduce yourself because I've heard that you know yourself better than I do.
One would hope so. I'm Joe Comerford. I'm a commentator here in Thailand, a former fighter. I would say a quasi-journalist, maybe social commentator for Muay Thai, content creator, maybe a boxing analyst as well. Kind of a backseat, ringside observer of the world of Muay Thai, and my mission is to educate, trying to bridge the gap between Thailand's Muay Thai and global Muay Thai. So obviously I commentate on RWS as well, co-present it with Aaron Sirisompan. I'm also a commentator on Fairtex fight at Lumpini Stadium. I'm a commentator on SKS Empire in collaboration with Kiat Pet Promotions at Rajadamnern Stadium on Sunday nights. I used to commentate at Omnoy Stadium when they were doing the 5-round show with SKS Empire, but then it changed hands. And I think I've commentated in Japan with RWS, and I have commentated Prison Fight, IFMA, a couple of WBC shows, and I just realized there's a sticker there. But so I've done a bit of everything. I also run a podcast. Obviously, if you follow me on Instagram, you can see the kind of educational material I put out. And I've got a YouTube.
What's the name of the podcast again? I know the name, but the viewers in here are not.
Chok Muay Chats. Chok Muay Chats. So obviously, Chok being the signal to fight. Muay means boxing, so to fight. Boxing Chats. So just very much like this fantastic podcast is just about having conversations about everything about Muay Thai, with many different walks of life in the world of Muay Thai.
Chok Muay Chats and Deep Talk. It sounds like a conversation today.
That's it. A collaboration, if you will.
Yeah, definitely. So you were also a fighter. Before we start into the right questions, you were always also a fighter. So when did you start with martial arts, or especially with Muay Thai?
So I actually started with Taekwondo as a kid, and like a lot of young people starting out in either karate or Taekwondo, kind of the more point scoring combat sport. So I competed quite competitively in my local area, and then I think I found...
Where's your local area for people who don't know?
Sydney City.
Australia.
It is Australia, of course.
I guess some people don't know that.
Okay, well, yeah, sorry, I should be a little bit more specific. So, yeah, Sydney City is where I'm from. I moved around a fair bit as a kid. I didn't find Muay Thai until I was about, I want to say 19, 20. Please excuse my memory. I've been punched in the head a lot, and I've been knocked out a fair few times, so my memory's not that great. But I want to say about 20. The first time I saw a derivative of Muay Thai was in Cambodia, Kon Khmer. That was the first time that I'd seen Southeast Asian kickboxing or sport like it. I was doing NGO work when I was about 17, 18 over in Cambodia, helping build houses over there. And some local Khmers took us to go watch Con Khmer, and I was like, "Wow, this is brutal." Fell in love with it, and then I was playing a little bit of kind of friendly rugby at university, and sustained an injury, and then had an awful breakup with a girl. So the doctor said, "Oh, well, because you can't really use your arm, why don't you try kickboxing?" And I don't think the doctor actually knew what they were talking about, because how can you do kickboxing if you can't use your hands? So I went to a local Dutch kickboxing gym, and they were teaching Muay Thai that night, and fell in love with it. I stayed there for 1 year, and if people know Hong Tong Muay Thai in Chiang Mai, it's a great gym up there. Probably more suitable for guys doing their like development amateur level of their career to get experience. Joe and Jen are fantastic trainers. They're two twins. Jen was probably the more, I would say, successful. Joe was a phenomenal fighter as well, a big superstar in kind of the tail end of the golden era.
So but
they
mid 90s and 90s.
Right? Yeah, kind of mid 90s, late late 90s, like 98, 99, early 2000s. Him and his brother went to Australia for about 3 months at a gym called PTJ, Rajadamnern Muay Thai in Sydney. It's a very famous gym in Sydney. My friend invited me to do privates with them, and I started doing privates with them at PTJ, and then I fell in love with that gym. And it actually was close to my university and my grandma, and I was living with my grandma at the time. So I moved over there, and I had, I want to say 17 fights for them, and then I had another about 6-7 fights in Thailand. So around 25 fights all up. So got a fair bit of experience.
Which is very important if you commentate Muay Thai fights as well, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think necessarily that fighting will make you a better commentator, because Aaron Sirisompan, who is the other RWS commentator, is a phenomenal commentator, one of the best in the game. He is the son of Master Woody, who runs the WMO. And Aaron is a very knowledgeable guy, very, very knowledgeable, has been around the sport since a baby, never fought, and has... Mate, his knowledge of the sport is incredible,
especially with that dad.
Yes, crazy. Yeah.
I just recently, like 1 hour ago, I just cut an interview with Woody, which was made by the president of the WMO Germany for my podcast program. It's incredible just to hear his voice and his knowledge. It's incredible.
Yeah, incredible family. I mean, Jade as well, the Aaron's sister, has done incredible things with the sport. She did a couple of promotions down in Phuket, I believe. But yeah, phenomenal family. Like, they've done such amazing things for the sport. So, but for me, I think fighting has certainly helped my commentary in terms of understanding what fighters are going through. I think that's an important part to building the narrative of RWS as well. Because, for example, if you were to have two guys that had never fought before, how would they understand the emotions of what a fighter's going through if you haven't been there yourself? And I think that's an important part of having that empathy and actually having the realistic empathy for the fighters and knowing what they're going through. You know, like tough weight cuts, fighting guys that are way above your level. I've certainly fought really tough guys way above my level, been in the deep end with the Sharks. So, you know, it certainly adds to the experience. So yeah, I had a fairly kind of 50-50 career. I'm pretty transparent about the fact that I wasn't ever the best fighter.
Hey, same here. We can put us together. Same here. I just did it for fun and just to make the experience and to know what I'm talking about.
I mean, for me, I fought regularly. I think I had like 13, 14 fights in 1 year. So very active in one of the years. So, you know, like half my career in 1 year. So I certainly fought a lot and very frequently, but a very short career. I think my career was only about 4 years long. So the end of it, I think I had about three or four fight losing streak on the tail end of my career. And I think 3 out of the 4 I got stopped or knocked out. And the very last knockout, if anybody wants to go watch it and go have a laugh at me, you're free to do that. It was on Rebellion, which is one of Australia's premier promotions. Shout out to Sainaji on that. Joe Coverdale. And the story behind that was that I was coming off a really tough weight cut. I think I was pushing down to 59, and normally I would fight at around 61 to 63. But there was a couple of fights where I fought 58.5, 59, and they were really rough cuts. And
now people that don't know hard weight cuts are yelling, it's just 1 kilogram or 2. And the pronouncing is on just. People do a weight cut and have fun with 1 kilogram.
Well, considering I was normally walking around 68 to 70 kilos, so quite a big weight cut through most camps. So yeah, not the smartest weight cutter, that's for sure. And I was fighting in that era where we didn't have access to Instagram reels about nutritional advice. Not every third person was a nutritionist. We really didn't have access to it. So it was really going along with old wives' tales, of eat steamed fish and broccoli for 2 weeks before your weight cut, and water load, and then try and sweat as much out as you can, and you'll be right. And then, of course, the post refueling session was drink as much electrolytes as you can and then smash a pizza. And so, like especially my generation of fighters didn't have access to a lot of that stuff. And a big thing that was starting to probably creep up towards the end of my career was strength and conditioning. Now, I didn't really do that much. I probably lifted like a bodybuilder, and I would do like 1 session a week, if that.
So kind of like a nonsense training for Muay Thai, or especially for martial arts. Yeah,
absolutely. Like no frigging clue.
Yeah,
like most of it was just running, and it was no fault of my trainers. It was no fault of my teammates. Everybody was doing their own thing. The trainers, and I still firmly believe this, if you're a professional athlete, you have the choice to outsource some of your training. I think you don't outsource your technical training. That stays inside your Muay Thai gym. But, like things like strength and conditioning and nutrition, you certainly can outsource those things.
Would you say the performance, because you, sorry for interrupting, but you see every weekend or nearly every day, you see professional Muay Thai fighters. Would you say the profession of the sport gets higher or get better since they start to do S&C training regularly in the week? Do you see some progress in that?
You know what I do see, and I'm just going to talk about technical training. I think we have certainly seen an increase in the quality of technical training abroad. And I think it's due to things like YouTube, accessibility to watching fights, accessibility to seminars, accessibility to guys being able to come over to Thailand and train and then take back those skills back home. Like globally, you watch guys now, and look, I have to be a little bit biased here. You look at the Australian scene over the last 10 years, it has skyrocketed in terms of technical ability. Guys are having 5 fights or 5 amateur padded fights, and they're fighting better than guys when I was fighting who had 20 fights. It's incredible to see the technicality of fighters now. Now, yes, I do think the higher level professional foreign fighters here in Thailand especially are doing much better because of the performance-based training. Yeah. And I think that is really giving them an upper edge, especially in what we call entertainment Muay Thai. So 3-round Muay Thai, or, shows like One, shows like RWS, where it has that faster pace. And I think that performance-based training is certainly giving them the upper edge. And not only the upper edge in terms of power output and volume and fitness, but their ability to cut weight. like you see some of the guys that are stepping in against the Thais on RWS, and they look like 2, 3, 4 weight divisions above some of the Thais. The ability to cut weight now is incredible. And you know, like when Alfie Pierce, if you don't know Alfie Pierce, you should. He was the first Englishman to ever fight for the Channel 7 title belt. He fought Petsamart Pet Kiapet. Unfortunately lost, but incredible fighter. His weight cuts, he was eating ice cream during his weight cuts. When I was fighting, unheard of. You'd be fucking insane. Sorry if I swear, but you'd be insane to eat ice cream during your weight cuts when I was fighting it. I think it really just shows the accessibility to education, the amount of research that has come out. I think right now is, if you're a fighter, you're in the luckiest period of
100%
combat sports and Muay Thai. To see the way it's growing is insane. It's lovely.
Incredible. And it's it's lovely, and it's so nice to see and also to feel. Yeah. So right now the people are introduced in you and your story, how you get into martial arts, and we can hear that you have a big experience in the cosmos of Muay Thai. Especially people who follow you on social media see that you share some posts about how to deal as a fighter, how to deal as a whatever. So we are right now going a little bit deeper in the into the material. So Joseph, if you could whisper one truth about Muay Thai into the ear of every fighter and fan around the world today, something you believe they need to hear, what would it be? As a starting quote, as a starting question.
Know your place in the world of Muay Thai. You have to be realistic about where you stand in the world of Muay Thai. So as a fighter and as a fan. So I'll go a little bit deeper into that. So from a fighter's perspective, know your level of experience, know your technical capabilities, know your definitely your technical capabilities and what you are capable of before you come to Thailand. I think that's a really important thing, because you see, and especially, and I don't want to be an old Oscar the Grouch here, but the new generation of fighters.
That's only one of the reasons I brought you here.
Yeah. I'm only 35, by the way, but I feel like a 50.
So you're built in 1990.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club.
The 90s kids.
Yeah.
So the decade of grunge, but yeah, I think one thing that I really see coming through at the moment is a lot of fighters with high expectations and a lot of entitlement. And I often get messaged about, oh, hey, man, I'm coming to Thailand this date. Can you get me a fight on RWS? Well, one, I'm not a matchmaker. Number two, I'm just a commentator. Number three, how many fights have you had? Where have you fought? Oh, I've had like 3 amateur padded fights at IFMA or the WBC Youth Games or a couple of smokers. I think I'm ready for the prelims of RWS. No. Okay, so this is what I mean about being realistic about your capability, is know where you stand and what your ability level is. And you have to be, it takes a lot of bravery and a lot of introspection to be able to do that and look at yourself in the mirror and go, yeah, shit, I'm not as good as I think I am. And sometimes it takes a little bit of testing the waters. So, for example, if you get a fight on Fairtex Fight and you're not that experienced and you go up against a Thai who's had 40 fights and he absolutely bashes you, it's a very common occurrence. Okay, time to take a step back, go up to Chiang Mai, go out to Isan and rack up another 10 fights. Then come back to the entertainment circuit. Go and get your experience on the 5-round circuit, whether it be down in Phuket, whether it be in Isan. I really press fighters before they even think about stepping onto the entertainment stage here in Bangkok about going and performing out in the country, getting their experience out on some of the tourist circuits. Rack up as much experience as you can, learn the game, fight Thais, fight other foreigners as well. Have as much experience as possible before you think about putting yourself in the next step of your career. Now, from a fan's perspective, I'm just going to hurt the world of Muay Thai's feelings right now. Okay? Foreign fans
Listen, people.
Yeah, foreign fans of Muay Thai are the biggest bunch of butthurt nerds I've ever met. And Reddit is going to hate me for this, but I'm looking at you, Reddit R Muay Thai. The biggest bunch of complainers about anything Muay Thai, and also, and I'm going to be really uncouth here as well, just so you might have to put an
Fear free.
Yeah, it is the biggest quasi-intellectual dick-swinging contest I have ever witnessed between foreign fans of Muay Thai. It seems to be more about showing what you know more than the other person than actually trying to uplift the sport. So my big kind of question about knowing your place in the world of Muay Thai as a fan, are you really a fan of Muay Thai, or is it about your own ego? Because this sport here in Thailand is not built on egos. It is not an egotistical sport in Thailand.
Yeah.
So
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, my big question is about knowing your place in the world of Muay Thai is challenging your intention, about, especially about commenting on social media. Like the amount of negativity I see from fans in the world of Muay Thai is just incredible. Are we trying to grow this sport, or are we just nitpicking at, you know, little nonsensical things? And I mean, look, I'm lucky because I don't get that much hate. Yeah, I get hate, but I just ignore it. It's like, okay.
After this video, you won't get hit anymore.
Oh, I reckon I will. I reckon I will from Reddit. But I mean, I say that with sincerity because I love this sport and I want to see it grow in the right direction. But if it's just about pleasing your own ego and showing that you know more than the next person, what does that really serve? So I would say my big one thing is know your place in the world of Muay Thai.
Bottom line.
Bottom line, yeah.
Yeah.
Bottom line. What's your intent? Yeah, maybe I phrase it better. Know your intention with sincerity and authenticity, and know your place.
Yeah. In your opinion, who are the most important voices shaping the sport right now? In the case of what you already just said, I don't want to get question, dot. No, I guess this is a question right behind that. So who do you think, especially from unexperienced fighters coming to the big shows because they didn't get into country Muay Thai, who do you think is right now one of the most important voices, like I said, shaping the sport right now?
Onion Topic. Onion Topic from
Greetings
America.
go out. He was a guest in this podcast as well, Onion.
Yeah, I actually have never met him, but I'm a big fan, not only of him as a fighter, but a lot of the content that he puts out. It's very educational. And if there's anyone to follow who's been there and done that, it's that guy.
He was a Muay Stadium champion, I mean.
Exactly. He's been there, he's done that. If anybody has the right to say anything about Muay Thai, it's that guy. I think a few guys that I would probably boost up in terms about where the sport is going. Obviously, Kevin Nguyen from WBC, the Secretary General. That man is probably one of the best people I've ever met in the sport. But in terms of knowing anything and everything about Muay Thai, it's that guy. Definitely worth listening to what he has to say. If you ever get the chance to meet him, just sit down. Don't say anything. Listen. And whatever Kevin tells you to do, you do. That was one of the best pieces of advice I got from someone was whenever Kevin tells you to do something, you just go and do it. Obviously, Matt Lucas has been around since the dawn of time. He's another voice that offers a lot of great content, a lot of great insights into kind of the Thai side of the industry.
I just recently read his book he sends to me. Incredible work. Greetings to Matt Lucas. We are in contact a lot, and he's just doing great work.
Yeah, his book's amazing. So I've known him for maybe 13 years, I think, since the FA group days. Yeah, he does a lot of incredible work. If it wasn't for him, and I'll always give him this shout out on every podcast I do, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be where I am now in terms of my career in the world of Muay Thai. He was the guy who got me into doing content. He's the guy who guided me through getting into the commentary space. So a shout out to him. He saw potential in me, and I've obviously made my own opportunities as well. But yeah, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be where I am. Another person that is really worth listening to, Pinky. I don't know if you know Pinky, but Pinky Donald is the world's corner man. I think he has cornered every single professional fighter in the world. He is the pit bull, Mr. Worldwide of Muay Thai. He has a gym in South Australia. Now,
I think his social media is Pinky Muay Thai, right? Something like that.
yes, yeah. Team Pinky Muay Thai. Now, a lot of people might think he's a polarizing character. He can be a little bit abrasive, and he doesn't mind me saying this. But he is one of the most genuine souls in the world, and he is definitely worth listening to. He has been there and done it as well. Maybe, like me, didn't have one of the most successful careers, but certainly has been there and done it here in Thailand. That man has stories of Thailand that would make a great autobiography and certainly worth reading. Yeah, so definitely go check out his YouTube channel for industry insights and how to curate your career as a fighter. Team Pinky Muay Thai or Pinky Muay Thai. Or
I'll
Team
put it down
Pinky.
in the show notes in here. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And definitely worth a look at. Some really, really good, worthwhile insights. And I think for now, that's probably it off the top of my head. Who kind of active and pushing Muay Thai to big lengths. Maybe one more shout out to an Australian, Kieran Walsh, who is Kieran Walsh.
All the names, I know all the names from hearing. I don't have a face in front of me right now, but when you hear the names right now in the video, I will put every face in the line here so people get into the
Kieran Walsh is Muay Thai's Jason Statham. He does so you won't remember his hair because he hasn't got much, but he's certainly a very, very good bloke. And he's been in the sport for about 20 years. Has trained some phenomenal athletes. Some people on RWS, names that you might know: Gabrielle De Ramos, little Filipino Australian girl who's doing quite well. Davina and Deandra Martin, though Davina's moved over to Strong Heart Muay Thai in Adelaide. Who else?
so many names.
Max.
How can you remember all the names?
He was Max McVicker's coach for a long time.
Yeah.
Before Max McVicker moved back over to Perth, and David Penapede, who's on hiatus at the moment, but he's fought big names. He fought Joe Ryan. He fought Beckham. Some huge names. So
Sounds
he's a
like 72.5 kilogram.
Yes, yeah. He's a big boy. He's a big boy. Very, very good fighter as well. So I think that's all off the top of my head. And of course yourself, who's doing fantastic things over in the continent of Europe.
I try to do my best. But I don't never want to place myself above the sport, and I would never do that. But it just makes fun, and I try to do as much as I can to help the community to grow. So thanks for that compliment.
No, that's all right. That's all right, my friend. That's all right.
What do you think over the last 5 years? What changes a lot in the global Muay Thai game? First of all, maybe another question: are you a fan of Muay Thai in small gloves?
No.
Me too.
Easy answer, no. And I'll give you a couple of reasons. And I've got friends who work for that certain big promotion that is a global entity, and they're going to hate me for this, but it doesn't matter because it's my opinion. I'm allowed to my opinion. I think the small gloves are the great career ender. I think they are for two aspects. Time and time again, I come across athletes who keep breaking their hands because of the lack of padding in the small gloves. And number two, because of the format of the way that you fight in the small gloves. So obviously, the added bonus system, it pushes you really to go for the kill instead of favoring skill and IQ, which is the thing that I love about Muay Thai, is watching really technical fights and, styles make fights. We all love a bit of blood and guts and knockouts. Knockouts are spectacular to watch. They're not great to receive, however. I'll tell you that much, ladies and gentlemen. They're not good.
Yeah.
They're not.
And
They're not nice.
Heard.
Yeah, they're. Well, it hurts your ego more than your brain. But I'll tell you that much. The lasting effects of them aren't fantastic either. I can barely remember yesterday. But small gloves, I think, are really, really dangerous. I think they are creating a lot of problems for athletes who are fighting on that end of the spectrum. And I think it changes the sport. A lot of people will say it's not Muay Thai. I tend to agree. I think it tends to just be kickboxing with elbows. Really just brawling with elbows and a little bit of clinch. It's not, I don't really like it. It's not my thing. And I see the purpose of it because it brings a whole bunch of new fans into the sport.
Sure, the entertaining fans, yeah.
Yep. So no issue with that, right? You got to start somewhere, but it's in terms of career longevity for athletes, it's not good. You know, I've got a good friend who...
I mean, it brings a lot of money into the sport, but in the other side, but because this is my next question, what do you think Muay Thai needs the most to grow right now and thrive internationally? Do you think this development is good? I don't think so. What do you think what the sport needs to thrive internationally?
Well, we need commercial sponsorship. That's a big thing. I mean, you look at the UFC and how the UFC thrives. I mean, there's even the argument that
just sold the rights to for the pay-per-view for Paramount Plus, 7.7 billion.
Yep.
What?
Yep. And I think that's a massive thing, you know, doing the free pay-per-view for certain platforms. That's a massive step for MMA, right? But these things take time. How long has the UFC's been around? Nearly 25 years, right?
I think 1993 they just had 30 years of... I just remember 2 years ago. Yeah, 30 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
I mean, they've been around nearly 30 years. These things take time. Now, I think Muay Thai definitely needs to break into North America, the North American sector. And I say this is an opinion that Matt Lucas shares as well, is because if you look at America and the way that they treat sport is like a religion over there. And the amount of big corporate sponsorship that goes into it is huge. That would be massive for Muay Thai if it ended up breaking into the American circuit. And imagine if we could do RWS America or RWS California or Las Vegas or something like that. Be massive for the sport, right? Massive. You know, fighters would finally get paid what they're worth, you know? Because let's be honest, there's not much money in this sport. A lot of us survive on passion, you know? Passion can only fuel you for so long. All of us have got bills to pay. All of us have got loved ones to pay for. You know, just recently in my personal life, you know, got family stuff going on, got bills to pay. Muay Thai is not paying that. So, you know, I think...
But it's a chance that it could happen. And
there is a chance, but the thing that really I think would be the big breakthrough for Muay Thai would be, one, big corporate sponsorship, big corporate sponsors. And I'm not talking like little... small sponsors. I'm talking like Coca-Cola, Nike, you know, the big world conglomerates paying into the sport, you know, even Reebok or, you know, like some of the ones that the UFC's got. Massive. That would be a big life changer, not only for athletes, but for all of us in the industry. Now, a lot of people may get angry with me for that because, you know, the thing about Muay Thai is kind of about humility and, you know, kind of the mystique of the Eastern martial arts side of it. But at the end of the day, the reality of Muay Thai is that it's a business. It is a business and it is a cutthroat business, especially here, right? Thais fight for survival. It's not because it's a Saturday hobby like in the West where a lot of us grew up middle class. Literally... It's to feed, it's to feed their families. So there's a massive difference there, and at the end of the day, it's business. So I think that's I think for it to grow exponentially and in the right way. I hate to say it, I think capitalism needs to get involved. And I'm not a capitalist by any means, but I think that's really what it needs to see exponential growth.
Also write a book. Didn't I tell you this?
Maybe. if I get time.
Yeah, I remember Matt Lucas saying it's hell of work.
Oh,
It's
I
incredible.
mean, I feel sorry for that poor bugger. He lost. He'd written all this material for a new book, and then he lost it all off a hard drive, so he had to start again. And his book is no light read either. You know, it's a proper coffee table paperweight. You know,
Yeah.
if you drop that
Takes
on
weeks, months, years.
if you drop that on your big toe, that big toe's, you know, that needs an X-ray. It's a big book. You know, he's done a phenomenal job. Definitely, you know, that's another thing. Like, definitely go support that, because not a lot of people are making tangible products in Muay Thai. You know, and DIY, like, he's done that all off his own back, and he's invested in that with his own money. And you know, it's a fantastic read. Definitely get into it, especially if you want to fight in Thailand. Definitely, it's not for beginners, but it's more for people who have maybe done like 1 or 2 trips, or like a gym owner who's coming over. But definitely worth a read for gym owners and maybe intermediate fighters.
Yeah. Because we recently talked about the small gloves, it's part of a cultural thing as well. Because with the small gloves, we lose a part of this culture of Muay Thai, traditional Muay Thai. How do you see the balance between tradition and the modernization in the sport? How do you see that?
Now, you know, interesting that you say that, because I just made a post today, and I'm just going to go refer to it, because I talk about that it's not necessarily what I said in my post was every era of Muay Thai believes it's the real one. But look closer at the rules, styles, and the audience. They have always shifted from temple fairs to smoky stadiums, from TV broadcast to LED lit walkouts. The sport has adapted to survive. Tradition isn't frozen in time, it's rewritten one fight at a time. Now, what I reference in that post is I reference the 4 main eras of Muay Thai. One is the pre-1970s Muay Thai, where it was mostly temple fairs, local fights. Yes, there were fights at Rajadamnern Stadium, like post-war, because Rajadamnern was 1945 when it was built and finished. Yes. But
Real fans should know that.
Yes, and it was mostly local champions, like defending mainly their pride and maybe sometimes local disputes. Now, most of the money that was made comes from ticket sales and side bets, and maybe like local patrons that might kind of sponsor it. Okay, to not necessarily advertise, but they were kind of bigger names in that era. Now, when Muay Thai starts to shift is when cameras, when it starts to broadcast live on TV. And of course, we all know the golden era, the 80s, the 90s, you know, names like Samart, Diesel Noy, all those.
Anawat, yeah.
Yeah. Anawat, Khao Samria, all the big names of the golden era. And a lot of people call it the golden age. Now, the big thing about that was obviously TV broadcast, accessibility nationwide in Thailand, making fighters household names. You know, that's why today we look back at that era. But the thing is that it was evolving. The sport was evolving with that time. You know, in that time, the best fighters fought the best. You know, technical fighters were just as well revered as knockout artists.
Yeah.
So, you know, and the thing is that system didn't last forever. The golden era sort of died out in the 2000s, 2010s. Now, that's when football became quite big in Thailand, because
when K1 has his high time.
Exactly. It was really more about football though here in Thailand. Now, what happened was when football came in, football became the new popular sport, and it became kind of, from what I understand now, this is a gospel. So if anybody from Thailand is listening to this isn't gospel. This is just from what friends have told me, that it was a big gambling sport. So it shifted from Muay Thai to football. So a lot of the fans left Muay Thai. The allure of Muay Thai wasn't there. And in Thailand, Muay Thai has always been considered a low-class sport because in Thai society, class is a very important thing. And I think this is really important to understand kind of the history and the narrative of where Muay Thai is right now. And in the 2010s, the sport had to adapt as well because they were losing a lot of the gamblers. The gamblers were controlling the fights a lot more. That's when we saw the kind of the re-emergence of the Muay Thai. They loved Muay Thai fighters. Guys like Pet Bunchu. That was the rise of their the rise of their careers. And you know, there's an interview with Samart Payakarun about this in the 2010s, and he doesn't like Muay Thai fighters because he said that that's all you saw in the 2010s.
I trained in his gym in 2011, Pop Teratam
Pop Teratam, and I was there around the same time.
But we didn't see us.
No.
I was there, I guess, 2000. Don't let me lie. I finished my education at work 12 or 13.
I might have been there about 2013, but there was, I want to say, there was a big...
And this is right now because my buddy Chris is a Muay Thai guy who wants to clinch all the time, and I told him I hate that shit. I want to punch you and kick you.
Yeah,
he doesn't like hear it, but he feels it.
So, well, I mean, that was a big factor is, you know, the gamblers were controlling the sport. So a lot of people kind of lost interest because of I'd say, the influence of the punters, would you say? You know, referees being involved and dodgy decisions and poisoning and all sorts of, you know, nasty affairs. You know, I think it was at Lumpini Stadium, the old Lumpini, a gambler threw a grenade at another gambler outside the stadium over a gambling debt. So, you know, crazy stuff that was going on. So a lot of people took a back step from the sport going, oh, this is a nasty sport. You know, we don't want any part of that. But the adaptation that Muay Thai had to make was more foreign-friendly shows. So you started to see more foreigners on the cards. You know, like back in the golden era, there was like a handful, you know, like John Wayne Parr and Raman Deckers. You know, a lot of the other names escape me, but you know, there were a couple of French. Danny Bill, that's who I was thinking. Danny Bill, you know, a lot of
Valentine.
Exactly, a couple of French fighters, you know, but
Jean Charles, yeah.
Exactly. And then we started to see in the 2010s a rise in the amount of foreign champions. Now, I think this is kind of when the era that the foreigners started to break through. And I think it was mainly because of the shrinking crowds of Thai gamblers and Thais at the stadiums. Because before, the stadiums were packed to the rafters with normal people, just normal everyday Joes. So you only really saw the hardcore fans during the 2010s. And they had to make money because they didn't have streaming. They didn't have big commercial sponsors. They had some, like at Rajadamnern, they had Sing.
And the sport was not as easy as they can get it like today.
Exactly. You know, it wasn't as easy. Wasn't as easy to follow. Timo, who was one of the matchmakers at One Championship, he used to run a channel.
Also in this podcast, Grüße an Timo, falls hier zuhört. I just called him or wrote with him. Sorry, I just wrote with him like 2 days ago. Good guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy. And, you know, he used to run the Muay Thai's channel for those Muay Thai ES. He used to go to the stadium every day and film the fights. And that was really the only access that foreigners had to Muay Thai media at that time. Now, the focus shifted from gamblers in seats to more kind of logos on the ring, but you started to see more tourist-friendly shows pop up, you know, MX Muay Extreme. That was kind of the tail end of the 2010s was Max Muay Thai when it was at its peak. That was really, besides Thai Fight, was the grandfather of entertainment Muay Thai as we know it. It was really like a neatly wrapped product and very accessible in terms of being able to watch it. And during my time of fighting, that was the show that everybody wanted to fight on. It had so many foreigners on there. It had so many good names on there. You know, and what happened was the loss of the Thai crowd. They have to shift it to a more foreign crowd. Now, Muay Thai goes global. COVID. Before COVID, the sport was, and Ali McOney says this in my podcast, the sport was dying a slow death. Pre-COVID, there was virtually no one in the stadiums. There was no one. I remember going to Rajadamnern in 2019, and I can't even remember. I wouldn't even be able to. I think Punpayak fought on a card there, on the card that I went to. There was virtually no one in the stadium. There was, I would say like maximum 200 people, which is nothing because the stadium can seat 3,500. Now,
So sad.
yeah.
But I said, and I got critics sometimes, but I said COVID was good for Muay Thai. In
100%
a
it did.
few parts.
100%
around
it
the
was. 100% it was. Okay, people can be as critical as you want, but seeing the difference that it made here, it made people in the industry innovative. They had to think differently. How do we make money when everybody's too scared to come back? What did Channel 7 do? Well, Channel 7 went away for a while, but then they started holding shows in a car park because it was open air, and then they started airing it on free to air TV on Channel 7. It is still today is the most watched Muay Thai program on Thai television. Channel 7 every Sunday. And I still stand a test, say this every single day, that it is the best Muay Thai you can watch. But, it made them adapt. It made the army adapt to that. One of the other things was that people were scared to go to stadiums because one of the initial COVID breakouts here in Thailand happened at Lumpini Stadium, I believe, at a 5-round show. So people were scared of that. They sort of immediately associated Muay Thai with COVID. Now,
And infection and
illness, exactly. Big clusters of people means getting sick. What it did do is it made everyone in the industry think how to do things differently. Even gyms, like, this is abroad. This isn't speaking Thailand, though. Abroad, a lot of gyms were having to hold classes online. People could still train from home, but, it's more of kind of a instructional format. So it forced all of us to think digitally and a little bit more innovatively. Now, I think the biggest thing to happen for Muay Thai is streaming and streaming services.
we can watch live RWS and Raja fights every Saturday on DAZN.
Yeah, exactly, and it doesn't cost $1 million. I think I think it's pretty cost effective.
Yeah.
And then
I guess right now, I don't know, $15, $20 a month, but you can watch every sport you want.
Yeah, exactly, right. And then if you don't want to do that, you can go watch it back on YouTube with Thai commentary. So the accessibility to Muay Thai is amazing at the moment, and I think it really just force people to think differently about how to approach promoting it. And I think, so if we look at it, global reach is a big thing that's happened post-COVID. RWS1, even Fairtex fight, it's broadcast to millions of people every week. Obviously, the big change is kind of the rule set and the format. So faster fights, more knockouts. So the big shift is not just for the hardcore fans, but introducing the sport to new fans. And I think that's one thing that One does well, is getting new fans because of their format. While I might not necessarily like it, I think that is true, and I see its purpose. RWS for me is, and not just because I'm a face of RWS now, but for me always was the promotion that I believed in right from the start, because it is the perfect mix between traditional Muay Thai and entertainment Muay Thai.
Yeah, exactly.
Faster pace, but you've got some of the biggest stadium style names on the show. Pet Morakot, Kuduk Lek, Kunsuk Noi, Kunsuk Lek, Nung Lang Lek. Of course, we had Tapao and Nung Lang Lek last week. Phenomenal fight. Yeah. Big names that made their names on the traditional 5-round circuit, or what we call stadium style, and then fighting at a faster pace. Man, amazing stuff. So I think the big shift was the pacing of fights. And I think it was necessary, because it was going to die a slow death if there wasn't that adaptation. Because if anyone tells you that they understand 5-round Muay Thai in the stadiums perfectly, they're lying. They're just full of shit. Because it's so nuanced. It's so nuanced, and the scoring... You're fighting for the gamblers. The
Still
pace,
today. Yeah.
Still today, you know, and the pace of the fight changes all the time. I was at Channel 7 last Sunday and just watching, you know, I hadn't been for a while, and just watching the pacing of the fights, they change every single round, you know, and Omnoy has its own different fan base. Channel 7 has its own different fan base. The 5-round shows at Rajadamnern have their own different fan base. The scoring, now people will argue with me on this, but I think the scoring changes depending on the fan base and who's there. So that's like, it's heavily nuanced.
Interesting point, yeah.
So I think the 3-round format and the faster pace rule set was really necessary. I think the KO friendly pacing was necessary as well to capture new fans. The big change was the production, the cinematic walkouts, a lot more independent media involved now. You know, like since post-COVID, there was virtually no independent media. It was really Matt Lucas and a couple of guys that ran fringe YouTube channels. Sylvie Von Douglas did a lot of, you know, anthropological
With the
work.
Muay Thai library.
Yeah, the Muay Thai library, but really kind of fringe stuff that set up stepping stones for the next generation to go into independent media, which I think is starting to get close to what boxing has. We kind of need to be where boxing is now.
Yeah.
And I think...
we're coming back to the point where you said we need a big collaboration, like with the big brand.
Exactly. And I think another point to make is we need more collaboration between each other. It's okay to have competition, but I think there is so much infighting in Muay Thai that it is completely unnecessary. We're fighting over scraps. There is not $1 million deals being made here, maybe by some of the big players. But for the guys who are mid-tier industry workers, we're fighting over the scraps. There's no need to be trying to fight with each other. We should all be collaborating with each other to build each other up. You know, often I talk to Kevin Nguyen about this with boxing, and, you know, and I've got a couple of friends in the boxing industry, a couple of matchmakers here in Thailand. I say, yeah, everyone works together. We're all eating from the same pizza, the same pie. What's happening with Muay Thai? I said, oh, mate, there's so much infighting and gossip. It's just ridiculous, especially in Western Muay Thai. And it's self-defeating. Like, what's the point?
Yep, exactly. That's the point, yeah.
So getting back to the question about, you know, COVID and Muay Thai, I mean, you just look at the exponential growth. Look at Instagram.
How many gyms popped up after that?
How many
It's
gyms?
crazy.
Yeah, worldwide. How many YouTube channels, how many Instagram reels do you see of people saying, I'm having my first fight in Thailand, I've got no experience, watch me.
I cannot look at it anymore.
Yeah. Watch me fight in Thailand. What this is what you're gonna need from 7-Eleven if you're having your first fight in Thailand, blah blah blah. All that kind of stuff. Okay, look, personally, a lot of it is really shallow content, but it certainly shows you the exponential growth and popularity of Muay Thai.
Right. That random people are doing YouTube channels just to promote their own way and path in Muay Thai. That would never happen 20 years ago. Never. Or 10 years.
Yep.
Never.
Exactly. You know, one guy who I think does it really well is Muay Thai Michael, who I do believe...
from Germany.
Yeah, I do believe is German. Now, and I'll be honest, not the most amazing fighter in the world, but he's transparent about that. You know, his new series is about being a UFC fighter. But what I really liked about his journey was that he was just documenting the journey. He wasn't pretending to be something that he wasn't. And I think that's what more of Muay Thai needs, is kind of like...
more reality. Like a good
more
rap song needs
more
to be real.
Yeah, more reality. Like, mate, you're not a tough guy if you're fighting in Chiang Mai, okay? I'll be honest. You're not an alpha male just because you had like a handful of fights in Chiang Mai. I'm not talking about Muay Thai Michael. I'm talking about the general, like, broad scope of shallow content that I see. you know, you're not an expert because you've had 1 or 2 fights. I think this is a part of Muay Thai as well, is that you have to do your time. And I think that's what we're starting to see now as a bit of lashback online against kind of the shallow content. I see often in the comment sections like, bro, stop posting the same clip of you dropping Somchai with the same kick. I fought him last week for the Taipei Stadium belt. And the next day, somebody fought him for the Taipei Stadium belt as well. He fights 5 days a week. And yes, he dives every second round. So it's like, that's a part of my mission, is to bring out the reality of the situation, as well as to educate people coming over here what the expectations are, one, in terms of Thai culture, but two, like the reality of the circuits. Like, if you're fighting in Chiang Mai and that's the scope of your career, that's fine. But if you're posing with the Loy Krot Stadium belt or the Taipei Stadium belt and you're saying, I'm a stadium champion in Thailand, no, you're fucking not. Like, Billy Bob fought for that belt yesterday in the exact same weight division. When they get their flight back, the next person steps in for that. It's not, there's no ranking system. Relax, bro. It's just a tourist circuit. All right. So, anyway, I'm getting a little bit off a bit of a tangent.
I guess everybody knows what you're talking about, because everybody have a friend in our Muay Thai bubble who's posting stuff like that, like every week. It's like,
yeah, and it's like, look, it's fine. I think it's fine. Like, it's fine to have shallow content. I think it's appealing to some people. For me, it's not my kind of thing. I would rather, you know, like things with a little bit more substance, but that's okay. Like, whatever, you know, people find that entertaining. But when it comes to wanting to be matched up, and this is more of a career aspect as a fighter, when wanting to get onto the bigger shows, nobody takes you seriously if you're standing with your Chiang Mai Stadium belt with all your trainers behind you and you've got a professional photographer to take that photo. It's like, mate, you're a nobody. You're not going to get the big opportunities by doing this. In fact,
that's a theme thing. I just saw the interview from, I guess, Matt and Matthias. Exactly, also about the experience thing. There are so many people right now in Thailand going back abroad with no experience, talking about that they have experience, but they haven't.
Grifters. A lot of my, like, there's no other term. They're just grifters, man, trying to monetize off Muay Thai, but they don't understand the deep rooted culture of it. Is that you have to do your time, and not just in Thailand, but abroad as well. Like, those who know, like we know, and you get exposed very quickly in this sport. Like, whether it be in the ring or whether it be in the industry, like, bullshitters, like, you don't last. You just don't. I've seen that many people come into the sport as media representatives and they'd last a month because they say they're going to do this for the sport. Mate, I've got a tale of one person came into the sport, ran a big, like a mid-sized media page, was traipsing around Lumpini Stadium and telling all these fighters that he was the reason that they got matched for these fights. He was the reason. He spoke to Chatri and said this. And then people were overhearing him and then coming back to me and go, man, have you heard this guy, like, what he's saying? And I was like, man, just don't pay attention to it because these people don't last. He lasted about 3 months. And it's just the fact of this sport is that you can't fake it. And I think it's because
consistency is key.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially in Muay Thai.
Yeah. Anyway, I've gone off on a bit of a tangent. I tend to do that. But
we got plenty of time. I guess we're going to make 5 videos of that.
That's fine. That's fine.
Let's go a little bit more. Yeah, you always wanted to say something.
No, that's fine. And just going back to the COVID point, I think the big thing is that COVID was a good thing for Muay Thai. It forced the industry to turn it upside down. When GSV bought Rajadamnern Stadium, was an amazing thing. GSV is a subsidiary company of Plan B, which is the biggest advertising company and marketing company in Thailand. It had a lot of really forward-thinking and innovative people from that team. Turned Rajadamnern upside down on its head. Look at it now. Every single night of the week, it is packed to the rafters. Pre-COVID, as I said, 200 people max. Now, they must. I suppose the numbers, if you take out the overheads, they'd easily be making like 1.5 million baht a night, which is around $50,000 a night, which is a lot of money. A lot of money, like in terms of like for Thailand, that's big money. That's just a rough guess, by the way. That's not, that's a rough guess from calculations I did on tickets and stuff.
Yeah.
And then, of course, with Lumpini Stadium, with the One Thing, seeing the global growth through that. And then also, not only that, but seeing the innovations that a lot of the 5-round promoters, you got Boat Petyendi and the Pride team with the Pride app. It's kind of like DAZN for 5-round Muay Thai. So you can pay in tokens and watch like all the Petyendi, all the Petyendi matches. I think there's some Kiat Pet shows on there as well. Sausamai, one of the other big promoters, have their own thing that they do through Facebook. So there's a lot of like digital online stuff happening for 5-round Muay Thai. It's not that easy to follow unless you read and write Thai. And one of the other, just one more thing before I finish this little segment about like COVID and the progression of Muay Thai over the last 5 years. The journalists in Thailand, when Muay Siam, the newspaper or the magazine, everybody knows Muay Siam. It was the one where you see all the big fold-out posters of your favorite fighters back in the 90s and the 2000s. They stopped printing about, I want to say 5 years ago, I think because of COVID. All those guys started doing their own thing, running their own Facebook pages. And now they're the main commentators, the main media personalities. They're working with some of the biggest promotion teams. You got Champions, who does commentary for RWS in Thai. He does commentary for TKO Kiat Pet. I think he does commentary for the Omnoy show on Saturday. He does a live stream on Facebook about all the Kiat Pet shows. You got Odd KO, who is a presenter for a lot of the Petyendi shows, does his own online channel. Mr. Pong, who is Mr. Pong and Nui Dino, who are commentators on Fairtex Fight. They do one championship. Mr. Pong does TKO Kiat Pet on a Sunday. I think sometimes he used to do Channel 7. But all these guys, they all found new avenues in the career and they were innovative. They went online, TikTok, everything. It forced people to think differently and forced the industry to change for the better, in my opinion. That's that.
So let's finish this first part before we go on to the next one. So the next video will be about your job as a commentator and the guidance you can give to young fighters for that first part.
Sure.
Thank you, Joe, and we're going to see us soon.
Subscribe for more content.